I have always wanted to make a film about the land, the animals, the birds, the trees, about the people who sow and reap the bread from times immemorial, generations on end. In my perception, this would be an instant snapshot of eternity, maybe. First we shot this field, then that hill. Then we went into the hill. The entrance was like a tunnel taking us to another millennium. One of the most beautiful tombs on earth, the Thracian tomb by the village of Sveshtari. I met these two people, friends, the protagonists of our story. They are a strange pair. One of them is the son of a mountain people who decided 4 or 5 generations ago to climb down the Balkan mountains and settle in the Delirman to till the land. The forefathers were rich people, but what does rich mean? Once 10 hectares were quite a lot, true? Theodore Jr., the last of the descendants of the famous Crăciunov clan, with their motto of just 3 words, work, 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 is in command of an estate of 10,000 hectares. The other one, an Austrian, born in Vienna, Christoph Heinrich Rudolf Edmund Joseph Maria, Count von Harting, also cultivator of land. He has got a 1,000-year-old castle in the Wachau Valley in the Upper Danube Basin. You'll see it later in the film. He travels all the time across the continent and knows the agriculture of the land from Russia to France, from the Hungarian Puszta to Isperih, Bulgaria. A true descendant of kings and archdukes, of archbishops and generals, but during the long hours of conversation, talking about Bulgaria and Austria, I have not met a more delicate and keen connoisseur and defendant of land and modern agriculture. He reminded me in some way of the character of The Magic Mountain by Thomas Mann. In a way, Theodore Ivanov seems to emerge from the pages of The Wolf Posse by Ivailo Petrov.
Who are in the avant-garde? Who are the best farmers? Who are working?
I would say, though, you find everywhere very good farmers and very bad farmers.
Everywhere.
So everywhere, it's the same. Though you have good ones and you have bad ones. If you pass here and you see, for instance, the fields of from Mr. Ivanov, 8 tons of wheat this year, 7 tons average, and you turn around after the next bend and you see a field wheat. I would say 3.5 or 4 tons. So that is the difference. Yeah. And I would say perhaps the input there was not so big, but he had work. He had everything. He had to do it. He has to go with the combine. He has to plow. He has to do all the work. And so, of course, technology is very important, you know. But it is not technology for itself. It's technology embedded in a system which you want to apply, you know.
Ние започнахме с около 500 декара наета земя.
We started with about 50 hectares of leased land and 1 tractor. Much later, we managed to buy 1 combine harvester. At the time, the Niva harvester was a luxury. Now we have 10,000 hectares of land, a pig farm with 60,000 heads, about 30 tractors, a dozen of combine harvesters, and 500 workers. How long did it take? A full 18 years. I have stayed the same since I was born, since I remember. Since I remember, I've been working without anyone forcing me. My father had a 1.5 hectare school field, which he tilled, while all the time he worked in a quarry.
Това е прадядо ми Иван Крачунов,
This is my grandfather, Ivan Krachunov, who, together with a handful of adherents, founded the local agricultural society in 1919. Once, a reporter from a newspaper wrote a critical article about me under the headline, "The Boy with the Dusty Cloth Cap." At the very beginning of our business, when was that? In 1992. At that moment, a big Bulgarian ship loaded with live lambs was turned back from Saudi Arabia because the stock had got some kind of disease, ecthyma contagiosa, the whole lot. The problem was that on top of the disease, no provision for food for the animals on the return voyage had been made, and they were delivered back mere bags of bones. And then my father was one of the daredevils who decided to buy part of the shipment so we could try to cure them, give them back their normal status, and then succeed in exporting them back. Money is not the greatest asset for us in any way. For me, the greatest asset is what is being done, what you can see and touch. One great value is that we have created conditions for production. Ask just anyone if we have ever been late with a paycheck, even by a day. Ask just anyone if there is a pig or even a leg of pork sold without VAT or whatever. Everything in this world is done with people, with a team. People are the mighty engine that makes things happen. Isperih is a town of many names inevitably lost through the millennia. On these 400 kilometers on the southern slopes of the Ludogoria Plateau, with about 30 villages, Isperih is the second largest town after Razgrad. Population 25,000, of which 60% ethnic Turks and 10% Gypsies. You can call it Kemalar after Kemal and his clan, who came here in 1545 and founded the settlement. But who knows what he founded and what he conquered, because for millennia on this land there flourished a brilliant civilization, the first Bulgarian kingdom, the Thracians. How much do you want for it? It isn't expensive. It can be milked. The people of Isperih are affectionate and hard-working. Unfortunately, unemployment is harsh and more than 2/3 of the population have no high school education. You read all the time, the population is constantly diminishing. Statistics show that the natural and mechanical population growth are negative. The analysis of the age structure points to aging. What language our bureaucracy employs? Migration? Most young people from this area to the bigger towns in the country, and most of all, immigration abroad is growing. I am the imam of the village. So, you, a woman, are the imam? Yes, I am. Welcome. It's so beautiful.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما ينذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون ليكذاك القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم يقمحون.
Има един погрешен анализ.
There is a faulty analysis made on the basis of bad compilation of statistical data that in Bulgaria there are 464,000 farms, agricultural farms, which is total stupidity because I made the effort to find out how these figures were reached. I established that any old granny with 5 hours of a garden planted with vegetables for her own needs, for winter supplies, is counted as an agricultural farm. This is sheer stupidity.
Quand nous rencontrons ces personnes, nous voulons essayer de comprendre comment à partir d'une vache...
When we see someone grazing only one cow, we want to understand how one survives on one cow and half a hectare only. To see what their gain is, if this patch of land is for the feeding of the cow only, or they could till the land and grow tobacco, for instance, which is very profitable and bring more money. Theodore discussed with us his project because he branches out in many directions, and it concerns more than his farm. He helps the farmers in the region. This compensates, to a certain extent, the inefficient system of crediting. We, on the other hand, tell him about the mechanisms in France. We exchange ideas.
За мене, истинската цифра на
To me, the number of farms in Bulgaria is about 84,000. And why 84,000? Because these are the registered firms that applied for financial aid for a unit of land from the European Union. That is, every owner of 1 hectare or more, that is, 1 farming unit, these are the 84,000 farms. And this is the real figure. That changes things considerably. Out of these 84,000 farms, 5,350 farms each cultivate over 350 hectares of land, which is quite a lot. 5,000 farms means an average of 200-250 companies or cooperatives or units per region. Just for comparison, in Austria, the number of companies that cultivate more than 100 hectares of land is 98. The companies with more than 2,000 hectares are just 5.
Agronomy, agriculture is not consisting of different parts which are not connected to each other. So you have to see it as a circle. You start something now, you do something now in the fields or with the animals, and you will have the result, and you will have you will see the results even some years later. So everything is connected to each other, and you have to see it as a whole, as one living thing, as I would say. The soil, the plants, the climate, everything is connected to each other.
В един момент установихме, че
At a certain period, we established on the basis of selection of wheat that whatever we do with perfect technical approach and all, our wheat cannot outjump its potential. That is when we decided to import new wheat. Cannot outjump it? No, it cannot, because it is an old selection. Each year people produce a minimum of 5 new varieties. Where is that? In Europe? Sure, in Europe. The new varieties age and become old in 3 years.
Label on the back, yes? That's the certification, that's a guarantee of the quality of the seed. We have 50 varieties, for example, yes, and we have together to test which varieties are the best varieties adapted to the Bulgarian climate. Yes, for example, in wheat, in barley, for example, it's the same. I think we have to test also other varieties or the other crops, but in each crop we have to find out the best. And the best for the farmer is, yes, which quality the market needs is the first. Which quality the market needs in different Bulgaria, for example. High quality wheat is, we have the same strategy, yes? So, the second is how many kilograms you can harvest per hectare, yes? The next is how early or late is the variety for this part of Europe, yes? But if the variety are too late, it's not possible to get good yields, good kernels, good quality. In Bulgaria we have found Mr. Ivanov is one of the best farms in Bulgaria, and I think Mr. Ivanov have the best conditions in Isperih, in this part, and so we can test all we want.
Our breeding is orientated to the east. We have got a Pannonic climate, and the conditions are rather similar to those of Romania or to Hungary or even to Bulgaria. As far as the climatic situation is concerned, our varieties should fit to the Eastern European regions much better than French or German varieties. What we propose we are prepared to give you 3 varieties.
Mm-hmm.
First one is Fabula.
Mm-hmm.
Fabula is earlier than Capo.
What do you think about Joseph, huh?
Well, Joseph is a good variety. It's already a very well-known variety, you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen it in Kalarash.
And did you like it?
Yeah, this year, at this particular year, it was good.
Today, Capo is very much asked in Italy as a variety. Yes, we owe him very much that Propster has become Popster.
Хубавото нещо при нашите партньорства е, че и двете страни.
The best thing in our partnership is that both parties are frank as far as trade relations permit it. Quite open in showing to each other the advantages and the disadvantages of a given variety.
And Ludwig, as far as quality is concerned, Ludwig is group 7.
Before we take the final decision, I would like also to sit down with our agronomists, because there is no one variety which we can say, oh, this one is the best. So we have to judge all the parameters and to choose at least 2 which we would like to start with, and we can make trials on 2 others.
As far as the agricultural potential is concerned in Eastern Europe, Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary, as I would say Hungary belongs to Central Europe, but Romania and Bulgaria, it's huge. You have a bright future.
Isn't it a terrifying fact that a Bulgarian producer in agriculture produces 10 times less than his European colleague? We have chosen a strategy in 3 directions. That is, super quality, but with compromises of yield, average quality with no compromises of yield, and low quality with super yield. These are the 3 directions of our so-called wheat portfolio. Right, but this is a colossal difference, 1 to 10. Colossal, yes. But China had 1 to 20 and 1 to 30. But they have a great cultural tradition, Confucian ethics and all that. Yes, and technological strategy. There are 2 approaches. Either you create high technologies, or, if you cannot, you buy them. Pondering on the problem, I came to the conclusion that the only way to compensate for this is to import know-how to Bulgaria. Buying seeds, we import know-how.
It's a very long time business. Yeah? If we cross this year, 2008, we say yes, we are making new crossings in wheat. Yes, these varieties we can sell earliest in 2018. We need 10 years to develop a new variety. Yes, around 10 years we need. Yes, but it's necessary that the new variety is better than the registered variety in the market now. And that's the generation for selling 2018 to 2020. Yes.
It's like rearing a baby, huh?
Yes. Yes, you can see it also. Yes. This is the best quality seed, and here the germination is the best.
И наистина това, което си мислех, се оправда.
And what I thought was quite justified. Under the same conditions in adjoining fields, the Bulgarian and the Austrian varieties gave different results. The testing of the new grain we bought goes into its second year, and for a second time we got the results that we expected, meaning superb, both in quantity and quality. What we intended by buying it, de facto, just happened. With our varieties, the greatest problem is this lodging we see, which makes harvesting difficult. Knock on wood, God forbid we had 4,000 hectares Victory or Millennia variety lodged. That would have been a catastrophe. We had to hire 100 combined harvesters to harvest these 4,000 hectares so we could keep the rhythm of completing the volume planned. Let's look at it. 50 to 53 grains compared to 15 to 20 grains. This is a serious difference. This is the difference of the Austrian variety. Now let's look at the Bulgarian. Otherwise the grain is very good because Victory is wheat of quality. What the Austrian variety gives us is 30% higher gain and about 10 to 20% better bread baking quality, the conditions being the same. To say nothing that with the best agro equipment, the results are simply excellent. Beautiful wheat, just look at it. It's a different picture. And this should maybe happen on a general basis, looking for a possibility of unification of production for the whole of Bulgaria, look for higher qualities so we can change the image of Bulgaria as a destination for cheap raw material. Quite the opposite, to say, here we go, we are the producers of quality wheat. At the outset, it could be done by a group of people sharing the same views, producing quality, looking for good prices, and as a consequence, to cover all Bulgaria, creating a good name of the country as a destination for good quality grain, like Australia, Argentina, or Canada. Let's give it an hour or so, the moist will go, and we'll start rolling. Harvesting is a kind of hell, whether we do the autumn harvest, wheat, maize or sunflower, because you have to coordinate a campaign with a lot of people, not a one-man show, you know, and to boot, conditions which unfortunately we cannot control. Even the chief agronomist cannot. Climate conditions we have to take into consideration. A rainy day can ruin 6 to 7 months of effort. With rain, all the indicators of certain varieties change dramatically because all the proteins, glutens and W just go to the devil. The wheat may be perfect, but it will become forage. I don't know what to call it or compare it to. Russian roulette, maybe. With Russian roulette, you put one bullet, spin it, and hope for the best. You don't know. You should do something to trick the weather in some way. And that is why we look for the closest estimates for the best rhythm of work. Do I have any advantages? How can I compete with them? The magic key is the volume. That is, it will make a difference if I have a vast basis, a vast area, so I can fight the competition. I have a good consignment of good quality to help me defend my conditions. What people are interested in is, in fact, quality. If I have that, I could bargain for a premium, for a better price. If I have a consignment to load 1, 2, 3, 5 ships, this is an advantage, because it means that the foreign buyer has secured the consignment he needs. And it is of a uniform quality. It is something guaranteed by my name, a reputation of standing, proved with the years of a trusted man that would not dupe a customer and will fulfill all his obligations, because the bottom line is, that's what matters.
Oscar, what we can do now is that we can offer for these 3,000 tons on the barges on a Danube, like FOB Russe, like FOB Russe, 165, let's say, euro. And we will kindly ask you, because these are Austrian varieties, to get some premium, like 2-3 euro more. So it would be about 168 euro FOB Russe, and with the loading rate, let's say 800 tons a day. Okay. Okay, so you're going to return back with some proposal for this. All right. So I will wait for your call, and I hope we are going to have a good deal as well. Thank you, and we stay in touch. Bye.
Да, обаждат ми се.
Yes, they call me, specify the parameters of the deal, of what you sell, the quantity, the price, deadline of delivery, destination, the indices of the different grains. We confirm over the phone, just by a sentence or two, of course. We take a phone conversation as a written contract, and that is all. These are 200 trucks in operation taking the grain to the docks for shipping. It means loading 4,500 tons of grain every day. The stretch is 150 kilometers directly to the ship. I have to secure all the trucks from one base, but we have organized the loading from 3 points simultaneously at 1,500 tons a day. So we get the whole quantity, but this requires very exact timing for all the people down the chain. In managing such an operation, hundreds of people function as a clockwork. Absolutely, yes. Starting at the warehouse, all the mechanics, operators of weigh bridges, stewards, truckers, going through accountants, the port administration, the sanitary authorities, National Grain Bureau. All these people work in super sync, so things could keep rolling.
So, Mr. Hart,
Nice to meet you. Lucas Bernhard, Power Intertrading.
Not only European Union is a great producer and exporter of wheat or grains. It's also the US, it's South America, Argentina, Brazil. It's also Australia. So these all are basically sources of grain and wheat in particular. And now when you think all quantities have to be moved around the globe.
We're trading today and mainly exporting corn, wheat, barley from Hungary to Romania till Bulgaria. We are also active in the Russian market, we are active in Kazakhstan. Yeah.
What's cheaper? Big quantities being shipped at once. That means that basically logistics and the needs for good and very sophisticated proper logistics have been increasing. And basically when I'm talking about huge quantities being shipped around the globe, you have to finance it somehow. These are also aspects that have been becoming more and more important nowadays, where the price of wheat and price of grain has been steadily going up. When you take the curve, let's say in the past, I don't know, 20 years, for example. For example, last year it was up, now it's slightly down, but still the whole trend as a cost structure is upwards.
If you take the wheat, the wheat was traded in the destination at $500 last year. So this year the price is almost half of it. Yeah. Why? Because this year, from these three factors what I mentioned to you, at least one is gone. This year there are huge wheat crops worldwide. Yeah. Almost up to 50 million tons, the wheat production is higher than it was last year. Yeah? So that makes a lot of pressure on the international market, so the wheat is going down, for example. Yeah?
It's fortunately or unfortunately, the participants of these exchanges are not only traders, buyers, sellers, but also speculative funds. And those speculative funds are also mixing up a lot and messing up a lot sometimes in terms of price development. Basically, what I'm trying to say, that the whole worldwide structure of trading is becoming more and more intertwined.
The image, unfortunately, of the Bulgarian wheat in the international market is something which has to be improved. I think that Theodor Ivanov with AgroTime is the best example how to produce quality wheat. Yeah. The wheat coming from his company is practically outperforming, and you can place it without problems to the destinations, especially to the mills which are looking for quality wheat. Yeah? Otherwise, Bulgarian wheat today goes to destinations like Asia, yeah. But these are destinations which are not looking on the prime quality, yeah. This is just average quality what they are buying, but it's definitely also a business what you can do, yeah.
The business road is quite long. It is not finished with this deal. You can't adopt the strategy of doing your calculations, getting rid of the goods, collecting your money and then forget all about it. Is your client satisfied or not? No, this is a total loss. If we are clever, we might do two things. Either do what was done in Denmark and Poland. They decided, we are not going to export grain, and they haven't exported grain since 1930. They use it for goods with added value, meat, eggs, etc. These 25 million pigs they raise for pork are fed with this grain. It's either Poland and Denmark's approach for their home consumption through meat and other products, as I said, or the second choice is if we want to export, let's do high-quality export, and like the Canadians and the Argentinians, go after high prices. The expenses are more or less the same. The difference is very small. You have to give just a little more money to obtain higher quality, applying good technology. The difference between high quality and low quality wheat could mean 40 to 50 euro per ton. So if we export 2 million tons, times 40, 50 euro, makes 100, 120 million euro difference only in the income. That's the trick.
It is very hard now to say to not so developed countries that they are not allowed to achieve a little bit higher living standard, and say, okay, you have to stay where we are because we are in Europe, in the United States, we have such a high living standard. We don't want to give anything away from that, so you have to stay where you are. That's impossible. In Austria, we used to have eat meat, let's say 100 years ago. Don't say anything about the social crisis which had been, but actually it was that meat was once a week or twice or three times a month maximum. And now you have 4 or 5 or 6 times a week, every day. But the world, the modern world, the Western world, is showing to these countries, so please, raise your consumption. You have to consume, and they are following. And afterwards, if we have the problems, then we are coming and telling them, okay, please consume, but consume in that way that our welfare is not going to be harmed, you know. In Vienna, the daily waste of bread is equal to the need of the second largest city in Austria. So that is Graz, or it's a big city in Austria. John Hopkins.
That's why the young people keep it.
Yes.
This castle was built about 1000. The first document exists from 1087. And at that time the church and the castle was donated to a monastery, Göttweig, which you will see today. If you go down to Krems, to the Wachau, on the opposite hill you have the big monastery of Göttweig. And this parish belonged to the monastery of Göttweig, and it was founded 1087.
Thanks. Wir waren bei Max gestern, waren wir in Papua, und dann waren wir bei Markus Königsegg.
We are in the estate of Count Markus zu Koenigsegg-Aulendorf, direct descendant of the Austrian imperial family. His pedigree could be traced back to Charlemagne. Now the hereditary aristocrat produces some of the most sophisticated red and white wines in Austria, relying on the mastery of French and Italian experts. As he told me, wine is not technology only. In order to produce it, you should go deep into the philosophy of the market and to be a keen connoisseur of the tastes of the customer. He has already visited Bulgaria, intends to visit again and travel through it with Theodor Ivanov.
But a personal question, what was actually that's been left by your family in Europe? What do you think is the most important thing that your family left in Europe?
The tradition and I would say the goals to hold this together, what we got and what we will give to the next generation. That's, I think, the most important thing. Don't to spend the heritage. So, we want to make it, to hold it or make it more and give it to the next generation, and that's the idea from this family.
For the germs and bacteria. This place here in Agerbuduk is in Europe the biggest producer of milk. They have more than 3,000 cows and they are producing every day between 50 and 60,000 liters of milk. Exactly 50,000 every day, and every second day it's 70,000 liters they are selling.
The carousel is for how many cows?
60 cows.
60, huh?
Usually have 70. Sorry. The whole amount of animals living in the company now is about 8,000 species. That's calves, bulls, and the cows. They had 3,000 mother pigs, sows, and 50,000. They've had 50,000 piglets till the end.
Is it very hard to compete with the European farmers?
Nagyon nehéz a probléma, mégpedig azért, mert
The problem is grave because the scale of the subsidies for some countries in Europe is very different. I personally do not think it fair, the new members of the EU, to have smaller subsidies than the old member states. This way we get a different approach to different children in a big family. The Western farmers are privileged.
This farm won the prize for the best cow. It's a very big, very beautiful cow.
We are going to show it and show it to Bulgaria.
Where our farm is here, right?
Itt van Győr, és itt van Pápa. Pápa, és én meg itt születtem, Bakony-Sziksen.
Napoleon was here in the region when he defeated the Austrians, and one of my ancestors was a general. In fact, that's the one that's hanging here on the wall, and he took part in the Napoleon's first defeat, which took place next to Vienna. But then the Austrians lost, and so the French also came in the house and took all the furniture. So it was a bit of a problem. But then they gave us back the things they took out of the house.
When you go into this well, how many generations?
My ancestors moved to this place in 1635. So it's how many years? It's almost 400 years by now. So you can, I think we can estimate about 8 to 10 generations. It's a responsibility, but we see ourselves as stewards of the country, yeah? So we follow stewardship, and it's, I think, farming and keeping up an estate like mine is probably one of the nicest jobs in the world. Farmers, they think they know what they have to do. So one part of the task that we see amongst farmers is, of course, producing high quality basic products for food and feed, and maybe energy. So food, feed and energy. And the other part, which is, in my opinion, as important as the first part, is keeping the rural areas, keeping up the landscape, fulfilling what society wants from us. Healthy environment. We build, as we breed pigs here on our estate, we also want to have state-of-the-art pig keeping. Yeah? I'm pig breeding, and I have in Austria about 300 clients who buy young breeding sows from me, and I'm on top of the pyramid of pig production, so I also want to be on top of the quality of the way the pigs are kept. And in the old days we kept the mother sows in single compartments, one next to each other. And now the new way is to keep them in groups. We have large groups, we have about 800 sows in one unit under one building, and when you enter this building it's totally quiet. You don't hear any noise, no pigs, no sows scream, because the pig decides itself what to do, whether they want to eat, sleep, or have social contacts, or be outside. Yeah? That's a new way in pig keeping.
You have to be humble if you work on the field, as Mr. Ivanov knows. Within humble, you know what humble? Yeah. Both feet on the ground, humble. And I tell you why. Within half an hour, a hailstorm, a thunderstorm can destroy the whole harvest. Yeah? If it doesn't rain for a month, you don't have any harvest. So if we would be speculators, yeah, we wouldn't be successful farmers.
The first thing is that you have to look for the resources you have. So you got your resources in your hand, and you have to look for it. That is what I said before. You have to look and foresee longer terms, so that your resources stay like you got them, healthy. And so you have to look for the soil. You have to look for the environment where you are. That is the first one. So you have the soil, you have the water, you have the climate, you have the people. So be happy if you have profit, and you can maximize it for your own, so that the profit stays every year. But you shouldn't, I think, try to maximize the profit for...
Don't be greedy and reckless.
Yes, because reckless means you will forget the things which are important for you around, and sometimes you will be built a little bit later, for sure.
For myself, at least, one should obey and respect God, because whatever we are doing, we all depend on the God's will. Even in the Bible, it said that God will send rain when it's needed to the righteous people. So we have to be righteous, and then pray God to, when we finish a good work, to expect good results as well. Second thing, we have to love what we are doing, because agriculture is connected with a lot of love, like many other professions. If you don't love the land, if you don't love the animals you're taking care of, if you don't love the machines you're working with, and especially people who are doing the job for you or helping you, then you're lost. You have to love whatever you're doing.
Don't you think that we somewhat humiliatingly arrange the existence of our own state? We lament and beg for money below the Brussels stars, There are worthy people in our country too. My friend, the author of The Passions Bulgarian, Toncho Zhechev, describes the Bulgarian as Ulysses, wandering foreign lands, homeless and friendless, dreaming of arriving where his heart calls him, where his soul leads him, but never being able to. Why shouldn't he do it? The man I told you about does not steal, does not beg, does not complain. He succeeds. Such people could change Bulgaria in 20 years. Give them their chance.